Hello, this is Keith Allen Morgan of the Comics. I'm interviewing Randy Bailey, also known as Toshubi, who does the webcomic The Blade of Toshubi. Hi.
Hello.
So tell us a little about your comic.
Okay, well, basically, Blade of Toshubi is your typical run-of-the-mill revenge story, actually. It's about a little mouse who used to be a farmer. Basically, his family was killed, and he's seeking revenge on the feline empire, which took his family from him. The setting of the comic is ancient Japan kind of setting. You got samurais, ninjas, and you also have some foreigners who come into the mix as well later on, typically cowboys or your musketeer types. The comic's actual timeline actually takes far in the future of Earth after a very serious nanovirus has gotten loose from mankind. It's pretty much wiped out mankind, and the only humans who are left are in orbit in space stations that were intentionally used for experimentation of long-term space travel. So they can't come to Earth because of the virus. Yeah, the story takes place in a very ancient Japan kind of setting.
Yeah, it's a furry comic.
Yes, yes it is. Forgot to mention that bit. I figured Mouse would mention that, but you know.
Well, there's stories like Red Fox where they're a little more realistic mice.
I see. All right. Cool.
Yes, it's an action-adventure.
Yes, it is. Yep. It's got a little bit of romance in it too, as some people have said. You know, it seems to be a rom-com adventure type story. So,
yes, the hot mouse on cow action.
Oh my god. Yeah. Anyway.
No, it's what Drunk Duck calls a mature comic.
Yes. Yeah. It
features some excessive violence.
Yeah, yeah. If somebody's head gets cut off, another one doesn't pop back up. It does have some violence, but I have made it to the point where it's teen friendly, I guess would be the best way to put it. The most harsh swear words you'll get will be like damn, hell, things like that. I don't go for the big F and S bombs in these ones. I wanted to keep it at a teen rating, so that's where we're at with that.
Okay. What got you started?
What got me started? Well, I've been drawing for, probably ever since I was able to hold a crayon. I don't know. I like to watch cartoons. I even like to watch them even to this day. You know, I'm 38. God. But I guess what really got me into comics was reading comic books. You know, when you draw and then you see people doing comic books, you're like, oh, that's so cool, and everything else. And then you try to do it yourself, and you find out, wow, this is really hard. And to this day, I still find drawing comics difficult, but it's something I like to do. So I continue to do it just simply because, well, you know, hey, I do it anyway, so I might as well have some fun with it. And the way I look at it, you know, pictures are meant to be looked at. So I do it to let other people enjoy it. You know, if they like it, cool, let me know.
How many comics have you made? About how long is the Blade of Toshubi so far?
Well, Blade of Toshubi is up to chapter 7. I have chapter 8 in this little book here. Yes, the infamous white book. And chapter 8's getting a little darker. I don't want to go too into detail as to what will happen, but I can say that there will be some scarring, both emotionally and physically. As far as how many comics I have made, Blade of Toshubi is the only comic that I've actually posted on the web. I started to work on a comic with another fellow, I think his name is Paris, and that was Ramen Girls, but I'm having some trouble getting into sync with the story. I've actually spoken with him lately. He's in Afghanistan. Stay safe, man. And he's willing to work with me some more on this, so that story may pick up here in the future. We'll see. Off the web. I've actually done about 4 or 5 comics, not from start to finish, mind you, but I've done The Story of Misty Little. That's a brief little story about basically being different and accepting the fact that you are different and using your differences to your advantage. I did a brief comic for a company newsletter a while back called Team Red Bullet. That was kind of like a misfit group of aliens that were all put together and kind of forced to work together in dire situations. I did a hentai comic called Peppermint Palace. I did about 5 or 6 pages of that, and I don't know why I stopped working on it. Maybe I got embarrassed. Heck, I don't know. And then I had another one called Miko the Little Ninja, which was a little girl who was this top-rate assassin, and she was adjusting to living in an Americanized world where children are not expected to slit the throats of their superiors if they get out of line. Things like that.
Fun stuff.
Yes.
What got you started?
What got me started in webcomics all the
Or maybe, what did I ask that one? Your inspiration, that sort of thing.
Oh.
What started Blade of Toshubi?
Oh, yeah. Blade of Toshubi started out as a time killer, actually, between classes at college. Like I said, I could draw, and I was, sitting there like, well, I have 2 hours before my next class. I could spend a half an hour driving into town, getting myself a bite to eat or whatever, and then driving all the way back, or I could just stay here, wait for my next class. So I started drawing Blade of Toshubi, and I kind of got this, what if Mickey Mouse was an actual badass? Instead of, him just being the friendly, hi kids, let's go play, instead just having, hi kids, let's go play.
Hi kids, let's go kill some tigers.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I kind of thought of a little bit of a combination of Tom and Jerry, cat versus mouse, some of the Mickey Mouse stuff, which also entailed some cat versus mouse stuff as well. It seemed to be a very popular theme, and I thought, okay, I can do this. The inspiration that I really got, though, was from a comic called Ninja High School. It was put out by a guy by the name of Ben Dunn, and he started out kind of rough, and he's gotten better, and if you look at his stuff now, it's just beautiful stuff. Fred Perry is another one. He does a series called Gold Digger, and his stuff started out kind of basic, and if you look at his stuff today, it's really nice. And I thought to myself, well, yeah, heck, if they can start off small and get worked up to something big, why can't I? So at first I started working on it, and it didn't go anywhere for a while. I worked on it, probably got about 8-9 pages, and then I put it away, and then I got my job at a robotics factory. And during my breaks and stuff, I didn't know anybody there, so I'd work on the comic on breaks and lunch. And a guy was walking by the table, and he looked at that, and most people would stop and look. And he's like, you should put that on the web. And I kind of thought to myself, wait, crazy? But I thought, okay. So I put it up on the web, and I started getting hits, and I was like, huh. So to this day, I work on it, and it goes on the web for everybody to see.
Didn't you once tell me that it was also part of a role-playing game you were doing?
Yes, it was. In my college days, I was heavy into gaming. And I have a few friends, actually. One of my friends that games still likes to play the game. Every once in a while, I'll go back down to Oregon and see my friends there. And they'll actually say, "Oh, break out the Blade of Toshubi game. We never finished that scene in Oki, or we never finished that adventure in the mine, and stuff like that." Oh, okay. Grab your stuff, grab your dice, grab your paper, and we play. There were some characters that didn't really fit with the story. The role-playing sessions don't perfectly mesh with the comic, but they give me ideas. They give me personalities with the characters, which I think is one of the things that really helped out with giving the characters different personalities, because genuinely different people played these characters. Reiko was played by a friend of mine. Tatiana, which you have not been introduced to yet, but she was role played by my girlfriend. We got Toe. Well, Toe is me.
Yes, I noticed a similarity with the glasses.
But Teshubi is also the other side of me as well. Toe is I like to call him.
So it's all about self-loathing.
Sort of. But, another friend of mine, he plays Kazu, which has not been introduced yet. So, yeah, the role of Jessica, I've taken a lot of the personality traits from my own daughter. She's a very bright gal, and she's very energetic, very active, and I care a lot about what happens to her and stuff, so you'll notice a lot between Teshubi and myself when it comes down to Jessica's protection. So, more stuff that'll be revealed in Chapter 8.
You were about to say something about Toe there? And then I interrupted.
Oh, you remembered that, did you? You must be eliminated. Okay, well, Toe, like I said, I believe everybody's got, a good side, which usually we see most of the time, and I believe that everybody's got a dark side. And I've got a pretty dark side when it comes out.
And for those who haven't read The Blade of Toshubi, what's Toe like?
Oh boy. Toe is...
The big bad, I believe.
He's basically the advisor to the Emperor. And he's got a psychotic streak in him. And he's got a very bad view of the female gender. A very, very, very bad view of the female gender. He enjoys watching them suffer. He enjoys torturing them. And things of the sort. He's actually got a small dungeon that's hidden away from the rest of the dungeon that he uses as a place to put his slave girls. He's got this pen of slave girls, and he does some pretty bad things to them. Like I said, the comic's teen, so you don't get too bad, but you can definitely see that these poor girls go through hell. So.
Anything else you'd like to explain about some of the other characters we've met?
Sure. Well, I've told you about Teshubi. You've heard about Toe. Jessica is she's a young girl. She's a stranger in a strange land. Where Teshubi's and Toe's world is like ancient Asia. Jessica's world... They're right there?
Hand's getting a little cramped.
I see. Jessica's world is very much like England. So you have kind of the more civilized outlook, if you would call it. She actually has tea time and everything else, though it hasn't really been shown in the comic. I'll have to do that later on.
She's a little cowgirl, too.
Yes, she is. She's a calf. A Jersey cow, as a matter of fact. She's basically really book smart, but she's not world smart, as I like to call it. She can quote off any fact out of a book that you can throw at her, but when it comes to real world situations, like, I wouldn't travel down that alleyway if I were you. Well, why not? There's nothing down there. That's the point. There's nothing down there. Or that's what they want you to think, is that there's nothing down there. Things like that. Jessica's kind of lived a very sheltered life. But her mother, who was killed, cared very much for her, but never really let her get exposed to the streets. So as a result, she's kind of a babe in the woods, if you'll say. Betsy, her mother, she was killed in Chapter 2. Betsy was, as my girlfriend likes to put it, she was the hot MILF. And that's pretty much what her intention was at first. She was supposed to be this pretty thing to look at and everything else. But as the story progressed, it kind of became apparent that she was destined to die. I don't want to say I got a lot of backlash, but I definitely got a lot of people talking when she was killed. Which is to be expected. A lot of people liked her. I liked her. I didn't really like killing her off, but it was necessary for the story.
Matter of fact, Magical Misfits actually put her in their version of heaven, didn't
Yes,
they?
As a matter of fact, he did. I was really honored when he did that. you know, I got this personal quack. He was saying, hey, you know, do you mind if I use Betsy for this challenge I've got going on? And I was like, well, you know, she's dead. You know, go ahead, you know, but, you know, I mean, I figured he'd just run it as a different timeline. Oh, you know, this is before she got killed or before she even came to, you know, the Rodent Dynasties. But it turns out that, no, he used the current version of her, which was deceased, but had her spirit basically go into the light, because in my comic, before she dies, she mentions the light, you know, how beautiful the light looks. And so Ron kind of took that and used it, and I was like, whoa, that's cool. So, there's Reiko. I think I'd mentioned her before. She's a black fox with a silver tip on her tail. She's a spy for the canine territories, and she's this. She's really quick, and she's fast, and she's got some strength, which is kind of an interesting thing too about her when she winds up facing off with Lamika, who's Toe's personal assassin. And the thing about Reiko, all the characters have an up and a down. Every character has their strengths and their weaknesses. Reiko's big weakness is that she tends to talk before she thinks. And this happens a few times in the story as you read it. You know, she'll wind up saying something, and Tashubi just gets ticked off, and just doesn't want anything to do with her after that. Lamika is a Persian Siamese mix house cat, and her thing about I guess her strength is that she's basically very, very devoted. She's almost like the Terminator in a way. She will not stop unless you just flat out destroy her. Her downside is that she's a brainwashed slave. She's basically the first person that Toe decided not to just flat out kill. First female that he actually decided, I wonder if I can do something with this, and basically turned her into this brainwashed slave who's willing to sacrifice everything. She views him as a god, and that kind of gives her that zeal to accomplish anything that he puts her to.
Well, it looks like we've got like 3 minutes left on this recording here.
You're kidding.
We've been going for 17 minutes. Maybe I set it on high definition. Maybe that was a little... Maybe I should...
Yeah, wow, 17 minutes.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll probably just call it quits, and we'll switch to another disc.
Okay.
Bye for now.